welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here. It is the return of the Red Sox Racing Series live on Trackside Racing Network. Very much looking forward to tonight's event. It's been a long time. Not a long time. It's only been like 2 weeks since we was able to broadcast. But we are live here tonight from Nürburgring GP Circuit. Got a special guest with us in the booth. I'll introduce him now. It is former winner in the Red Sox Racing Series. Not only that, really a few times in second place in points, I believe, as well. Multiple championships under his belt, not only in the road side of things, but oval as well. Welcome, Joe Burchett, to the channel. Joe, good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Good to be here.
Yeah, man, and we're going to actually be doing something here about 2 minutes or so that we kind of put together for the broadcast. I'm actually looking forward to showing you all. Minjo worked on this yesterday, so we're going to put it together. We'll hop down to the track in just a few moments. Joe has actually put together basically a rundown of this racetrack to break down the track in a little bit, and you guys will go on board right along in the GTD car Lamborghini. So that's going to be fun. We'll do that here in the meantime. Joe, when it comes to Nürburgring, man, you kind of talked about it in a little preview coming up. Very tough place, especially with 3 classes, but there is a little bit more room than normal.
Yeah, I think these guys tonight are going to put on a pretty good race. The track's got a little bit wider in sections. There's some sections that are a little bit narrow, but it's going to give ample opportunities to pass, and I think it's going to allow for them to put on one heck of a race.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know how many people we actually got in here now, but I'm seeing 9 of the GT cars. I believe it was 9 GTDs. Actually, we got 9 GTDs as well. I believe it's around 10 or so GT or LMP2 cars. So it's going to make things fun. Qualifying is still going on right now, 11 minutes. So difference this season is the classes that we're going to be running. Or not classes, the length of schedule that we're going to be running. We're actually running multiple. So I was reading the chat, but we're going to be running multiple races this season. Not only we're not running 8 races this year, we're actually going to switch that up, run 12 next week. Monza, Canadian Tire. After that, Long Beach, Watkins Glen, Road America, Barcelona. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Hockenheimring. Is that it?
Yeah, Hockenheim. Right?
Hockenheim. Spa Classic, Circuit, Giles Villeneuve, Amola, and Detroit Grand Prix, which is always going to be fun. So what I want to do right now is actually hop over to the racetrack, and I want to give you guys a preview of tonight's race featuring Joe Burchett. So enjoy. Welcome, everybody. We are here at the racetrack. We got Joe Burchett actually driving the Lamborghini GTD. He is going to be our race reporter as well with me here in the booth tonight for the Red Sox Racing Series. First race of the season. What a better person to take us on a ride around Nürburgring. This is a fun track. It's going to be fast. Joe, it's all down to you, man. Go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. We're here at the Nürburgring, as Adam said. We're going to give you a couple laps around, kind of give you a driver's perspective of the track. Here we're coming out of the pit lane. Big key here, we got to stay below that white line until it ends. Then you're free to move wherever on the track without getting penalty. Big thing I think tonight will be the key of getting up through the gears quickly and safely without a lot of wheel spin. These are a lot of hard braking corners. You're going to carry a lot of speed into them, but there's a really good chance to get a lot of wheel spin out of them. So the drivers tonight are going to have their hands full. This is actually coming into a little tricky section of the track. That's a lot of switchbacks right here. We're going to have a hard right-hand corner coming up. It's basically a big U, and a little bit difficult for passing, especially with the LMP2s and the GT cars. It's going to make especially difficult, but I think these boys will be able to take it tonight. So sit back, enjoy. I'll kind of point out a few things as we go, and hopefully everybody enjoys this and enjoys the race later. right, we're approaching the final corner. We're going to start what we would call a hot lap. You want to stay as close to this exit as you can out. Use up all the rumble strip and get a good acceleration down the front straightaway. The front straightaway tonight, you're going to see a lot of passing. It's going to be a perfect opportunity for the LMP2s to really make ground and safely pass the GT cars. Here's turn one. Turn one super tight. I don't think you're going to see a lot of passing here tonight unless you can get a light dive bomb into the corner. Coming out of turn one, you've got turn two and turn three here. It's double left-handers. And then I switch back to the right for turn four. Once again, it's going to be a little difficult with the multi-class. You really have to pick your line. But I think these guys will be okay. Turn five here, like again, another left-hander. A lot of left-handers here at the Nürburgring GP layout. But the track's got a little bit of width to it, so it'll allow for 2 wide, maybe 3 wide in a few places. As you see, league owner Les Turner making a pass in the LMP2 cars. You can see these cars have a lot of speed differential. They're able to get up through the gears and actually hold a lot more speed through these corners than the GT cars. So that's one thing to watch out for tonight. These cars are definitely going to be at a speed disadvantage and speed differential. Big thing I think you're definitely going to see is there's probably going to be some chaos probably midway through the race when these LMP2 cars catch either the GTD or the GTE cars. I think you will see them lapping the field at least once, maybe twice tonight. And you may even see the GTE field possibly get to the tail end of the GTD field. But this is like I said, this few laps around the Nürburgring. I hope y'all enjoy it. And I'll cut out the unnecessary talking and just let y'all have a few hot laps here.
One thing as well is we're right on board with Joe Chat right now. You can kind of hear the gear, even through the microphone. You can hear him actually shifting the gears, which is pretty interesting to see how much you actually do have to shift here. That's one thing I noticed, the changing in gears quite a bit, quite a few times a lap. So, and that's just with the GTD cars. The LMP2 is probably going to be doing it a lot more, along with the GTEs. So that's something to keep an eye on, especially on these corner exits. You never know with the wheel spin and stuff. A lot of power easily can cause spin out. So do a couple more moments here on board of Joe's car as you're getting a good look of putting some good lap times. Now, like I said, what the great person to actually do these little types of videos that we're going to be doing is him. So be awesome to see as the season continues. And here comes Joe to finish up the lap, and looking pretty good so far. So that would do it, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Joe, thank you for getting in the car and taking everybody around here.
2-4, Adam.
All right, there you go. Thanks, Joe. That was awesome. I actually enjoyed that. We're going to actually try to do that every week for this season. coming up. That was a great look at this 16-turn racetrack here at Nürburgring in Germany. It's going to be a fun place to race here tonight. We got a few drivers in here that are qualified at the moment, and we will hop over to watch some of the qualifying. We got about 2 minutes or so left here in qualifying. Joe, we was actually talking a little bit earlier. Some of these guys are going to be tough to beat, but who gets it done tonight, you think, in the LMP2 class, the GTE and GT3?
LMP2, I think it's going to be a really close race in LMP2. There's a lot of guys that are almost on top of each other, lap time wise, especially through practice as I was watching. So I think it's going to be, that's almost too close to call at this point. But if I had to pick somebody right now, I don't know. Every time he shows up, I can't really ever count him out because he's put the whooping on me every time I've usually raced him. So I'm gonna probably go with old Ross Booth in the
Good pick.
LMP2 class.
Yeah, I noticed that Les has actually jumped over to LMP2 class as well this season.
Yeah, good to see. I think the LMP2 class is there. You have to be in the series for more than one season to be allowed to run the LMP2. The GT classes are like the entry level. If you're new to the league, you're allowed to run either one of the GT classes, but you have to be, I think, within the league for one season before they'll allow you to move up to the LMP2 class. So
so there you go. So you pick Ross Booth. Ryan Wash right now on top of the board, which is, I believe, is a newcomer for the LMP2 class. So who do you got for GTE?
GTE, I think I'm probably gonna have to go with old Mitch Heller.
That's what I got as well.
Mitch is looking pretty strong tonight. He's been on top of the charts all night long in practice and qualifying. So I think, unless something unforeseen happens, I think Mitch might get it done in GTE.
Yeah, I think Mitch is a great pick. I would like to see him be able to get a win in here this season. All right, over to the GT3 class, which is one of your favorite classes, the Lamborghinis and the BMW GT3. Thoughts and who gets it done?
GTD, I think this season with the addition of Paul coming down to GTD, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a runaway, but I think he's going to be your odds-on favorite probably every week in that class. I watched him a few times last season in LMP2, and I think he won the LMP2 title last year. So he's definitely shows that he's got the talent, and then all of these. It's a whole group of the PG-13 racing team.
Yeah.
So I think they're all up front in about every class that they run. So I think you're going to try to see a lot of them sweep the podiums of all the classes each week. But I think tonight, I think Paul's probably got the definite right now the leg up. But like I said, anything can happen with it being three classes. You could be running good and something unforeseen happen. You could get taken out by a different class, or just something happens, you make a mistake.
Yeah.
So you can't really count anybody out. But I think right now, going off of what you're seeing qualifying and practice wise, I think Paul is probably your odds-on favorite in GTD.
Yeah, good pick. It is going to be tough to actually bet against him, to be completely honest, but you never know what could happen. Like Joe said, anything's definitely capable and probably will happen. Let's just be honest. We've seen it done before. So, as we mentioned, we are here at the Nürburgring GP circuit. First round, as Ross Booth goes to the grass, first round of the Red Sox Racing Series set to kick off. Does look like David Shutt is actually going to jump up and take the pole here for the LMP2 class. Mitch Heller will be on the pole for the GTE, and, of course, Paul Gibson on pole for GTD. No Ryan Robertson here tonight, but these guys are allowed 2 dropped weeks, so we'll see if he shows up next week.
Actually, Ryan Robertson has moved into the LMP2 class.
Oh, he did. You're right. You're actually 7th right now. Good call. I did not see that. So there you go. Ryan, of course, was the winner of the GTE or GTD last season, so he has moved up to LMP2. So once again, Nürburgring this week, Monza next week, Canadian Tire the week after, and there's your next 2 races into it. I'm going to be interested once we get to, it was not Detroit, Long Beach again. That was actually a very fun race that we got to that I got to broadcast last year. One of the things that they have done for people that do not know, the schedule for the most part actually follows the iRacing schedule or the IMSA schedule. The matches the IMSA schedule. I believe it's on iRacing as well. For the most part, it matches that. So pretty cool that they was able to do that. It's just basically the reason why they did that. It gives guys more extra practice, which is always a good thing to have. So, all right, Red Sox Racing Series ready to kick off the Spring Series 2. Of course, 3 classes here tonight ready to get in. If you are interested in joining, you can actually follow them, Red Sox Racing League, over on Facebook, and you can check all the information there. So, we are set to grid up. In the chat, give me your thoughts. Who will get the win tonight? Who you're pulling for, as the grid has begun to fill out here. How many cars total we got? About 28, something like that. Quite a bit.
Yep, 28 cars.
I don't think it's any surprise. I know, we always expect a pretty good turnout here in the Red Sox Racing Series. So we'll see. Anyway.
And just one thing to add real quick before they do take the green, kind of to give a little plug for the league. They run the 3 classes. They're all fixed setup. It's a fuel cap.
Yeah.
To make them have at least one pit stop in the race, and like I said, I think they welcome about anybody that wants to run.
Yeah, so they've been around a long time. I don't know. Do you know how long they've actually been around? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I know it's been a lot. Like they've been around an extremely long time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably going on 10 years.
Yeah, they was here. I mean, the owner or the co-owner that actually helped founded the league was John Henry, which is literally one of the main owners, I believe, of the Boston Red Sox. So yeah, it's been here for over 10 years, one of the oldest leagues in iRacing, and you can tell it's still going strong here even in 2021, which is awesome to see. They do a lot of work on this league. Like, that is not a lot. And honestly, Joe, you've raced in it. We've talked about it. There is a lot of respect in this league. Like, they don't, if you got an attitude problem, to be honest, you're probably not going to fit in. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, the guys with attitude problems, they usually get weeded out pretty quick. Most of these guys return season after season. As you can see, the car count's there.
Yeah.
Everybody enjoys coming on Thursday nights to run these 45-minute race, 30 to 45-minute races each Thursday, and I think this league's just going to continue to blossom and getting a little bit bigger season after season. It's, I think, as they're getting these faster guys in here and just more all around well-rounded racers, it's going to draw more and more as well-rounded racers, and it's going to allow them to really grow.
I'm actually surprised that this league does not cap out every week. I'm just going to be honest. That's the pace car truck already dropping in the pit road. We're set to get this season underway. LMP2s ready to fire off here at the start-finish line. You can see them grouping up here, and we will get this season underway as soon as the green flag drops out. The green flag is out of the air. We're racing here live for the Red Sox Racing Series Spring Series 2 is underway. As they go down into turn 1, we will jump back here momentarily to the GTE. As you see, Mitch Heller coming off turn 16, coming to the start-finish line. As the LMP2s are underway, the GTE set to start their season off as well, and the green flag is out as 8 cars. Big wreck at the beginning of this one. Somebody missed a shift. That was Matthew Gosh into 222, and he's going to be caught up here with the GT3s as they're underway. Not sure what happened there, Joe.
Yeah, interesting there with front row of GTE. I don't know if they thought maybe wanted to jump the start or something. He tried to slow down to give it back. Just got hit from behind, but
that's what it looked like. Yeah.
Interesting though. Unfortunate for Matthew. It looks like it's gonna put him in the hole for the night, but I think they do have a fast repair, and he can
try to salvage something.
Yeah, salvage a few points. It's a 12-week schedule, so he has he can use this as a drop week if he needs to and recover. So he's definitely not out of it.
Are you a fan of the drop weeks? Do you like the drop weeks? I know that you raced in this, and this is for asking you as a driver that wasn't here and competed for championships as well. Are you a fan of the drop weeks?
I do. I do like the drop week. I think it allows the guys. If you have one, every once in a while you're gonna have a bad race. So if you mess up and you need a little bit of help, it's there for you. If you don't mess up, then hey, it drops a second place that you may have won, 6 races, and it drops a 1 second place that maybe lowers your own points, and all your points are counting as wins. So that just helps you, even though you stay consistent and showed up every week. But I just think it allows for the guys that if you had a bad week, you got wrecked or something, or you couldn't make it one week, you're not all the way out of the championship.
For sure. Watching Dwayne McCarthy, he actually had a little bobble and gets into the sand and actually goes for a spin. Don't think he really got under the wall, but he does lose a lot of time. He is back on track and moving once again. So unfortunate there. Hopefully he's able to regain a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, I think as a broadcaster, I like the drop weeks because it does seem like it makes points a little bit close in my eyes. So I think the entertainment thing of it, as far as that goes, I think is definitely there. His Terry Dollar to 53. We're currently on a 4th right now in that Hamburg Brewing Company, number 4. He always runs that Hamburg Brewing Company car. I think that's actually his main sponsor every season that we've seen. So currently 4th right now. May have had an issue. Ross Booth has had an issue, Joe.
Oh, man.
And the LMP too, yep.
It's like Les Turner off as well.
You are correct. Les Turner also having trouble. Here's Ross, and we'll jump back to Les as he goes. Oh, yeah, so what he did, he kind of checked up. Oh, who's the 210 there? Ryan Robertson also went off. It looked like Les kind of checked up to try not to get in the back of Ryan, and unfortunately went around as well. So, interesting aspects from the LMP2 cars. And honestly, Joe, they're not really spaced out like I thought they would be already. They're still within reach of each other pretty close right now with David Shutt and Ryan Walsh 1st and 2nd.
Yeah. One thing, too, the interesting fact about the little incident there with Ross, these LMP2 cars, they have they set real low to the ground. So using these curves like they do, if they kind of get over a little too far and abuse them just a little too far, it'll bottom out the car onto the floor pan. And basically, it just takes the wheels up off the ground, and you lose all traction. And like what happened with Ross there, it just sent him around, coming off the exit of one of those corners using a little too much rumble strip, and it sent him off into the dirt. But luckily he didn't hit anything, so it's car's not damaged. He just lost a lot of time to the front guys and have to work his way back up to the front.
Yeah, and we know that he can. One of the things, Joe, when we go to Canadian Tire, we know Canadian Tire, a lot of cars will run over them curves, so that's something to really keep an eye on when we actually head to north of the border, go to Canada. We see a lot of cars actually get into them curves, so that's something we definitely got to watch with the LMP2 cars. We've talked about that or seen that even last year. I know she was in a race and a couple of cars had that happen.
Yeah, the LMP2, they're really sensitive to the rumble strips, at least right now, I think.
Yeah.
The GT cars are allowed, they're really able to attack them a lot more and kind of abuse the rumble strips. Doesn't really affect them too much, but the LMP2s, they kind of have to be real selective of how they want to run the rumble strips and use them. If they use them too much, it'll damage the car a little bit and kind of give you a little bit of damage and slow you down ever so slightly, or in Ross's case, just you get a little too much and it sends you around.
James Prostel checking in, not in this race tonight, which is kind of unfortunate. He's always racing in the very nice walk to end all timers paint schemes. I seen James post on Facebook on social media yesterday. He had that green tie on for St. Patrick's Day. He was rocking it. I believe he works at the airport, so pretty cool to see that. But hopefully he gets back in the car soon. I always like watching James race. I always love his paint schemes. By far my favorite. David Shutt still out in front in LLP2. Mitch Heller currently leading over in GTE. Paul Gibson leading over in the GTD. And that's currently where we'll go. We'll see the PG-13 previous LMP2 champion, the 31 of Paul Gibson, trying to outrun the 42 of Nikhil Kopker, who is Actually doing a pretty nice job, Joe. Only about a second back right now, and that could easily change, especially when we start getting into pit stops.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was the class that I'm actually kind of surprised on right now. I would have thought possibly Paul would have kind of walked away from these
Yeah,
guys a little bit more, just going off of kind of how his lap times have been all session long tonight. But like I said, you said Nick is he's kind of holding in there with him. They are, both PG-13 drivers, so I know they may be trying to work with each other,
right.
possibly some strategy-wise, but they're both hanging in there. It's actually Ferrari, BMW, so two different cars, surprisingly, and they're both kind of running almost the same pace. So it's definitely, it's going to be a tight battle probably the whole 20 laps here tonight.
I mentioned earlier that you was, of course, a member. As we're going to jump up to LMP2, Colin Weatherholt just put down the fastest lap, and he's actually battling Ryan right now for that second spot, trying to take that away. But I mentioned earlier that you, of course, ran in this series, and Joe, you can kind of talk about it. Pit stops. That is a make or break for someone's race, especially. We've seen it. Ross did it with you quite a few times, utilizing that draft and save a little bit of fuel so you could take less during that pit stop.
Yeah, yeah. Pit stops in these little, 20 lap timed races like this with, fixed fuel cap, it really comes into a factor of, where you want to place yourself getting into pit lane, how much you want to put in, and, get yourself out as quickly as possible. The one thing to note, though, per the Red Sox Racing League rule, they do have to have enough fuel in the car to make it around post race back to pit lane. Otherwise, it will be a post race penalty. So they have to kind of take that into account as well when they make their pit stop to make sure they've got enough to finish the race first, but also to make it back around. So it kind of plays with the guys on strategy that they want to put the least amount of fuel in, but they want to put enough in that they can get to the finish and back around after post race.
Yeah, what's interesting about that, it's a 4-point penalty, and I can kind of mention this because last season there was a tie in one of the classes, but of course it went to the guy with the most wins. But there was actually a tie in one of the points battles, but it could have changed if he wouldn't have made it back around to pit road. One of the races, it would have been done. And so you definitely got to consider that. Of course, there's bonus points that get involved as well, as we're starting to mix in classes now. You see the LMP2 is starting to work into GTE or GTD. But there is bonus points that come into play. Off tracks. If you get an off track, you don't get a bonus point. If you get 0 off tracks, there's your bonus point. So bonus points, I mean, the points races, the way they set this up is so... it could be very tight at the end of the season.
Yeah. I mean, the way Les and Terry kind of set this whole series up, point structure, race schedule and race structure, it makes it for a dynamic, race, dynamic championship that, everything's changing every week. Because one person makes, one little small mistake, it affects, possibly 3 or 4 people championship wise, or themselves, in general, just championship wise. So I kind of I like how they decide to kind of throw the little few curveballs and wrenches in there to kind of mix things up each season.
Yeah, and we was hesitant about the 3 classes, and it makes it a lot easier from a broadcaster standpoint to have somebody else in here, and that's one of the things that a lot of people don't take into account. We're watching Mitchell right now, but he could easily, I don't want to say easily, but he could win this race. He's out by 8 seconds right now over Christopher Jimenez, who's done a good job, carried all third. But, he's got a good chance to possibly get a win, but that could all go away very quick, especially with the LMP2s out on track, GTE or GTDs. Joe kind of hit it on a little bit, and Joe, you talked about it some in the pre-race like I just mentioned. It is difficult to really work around traffic and try to get out of the way of faster cars, or, and race for position.
Yeah, I mean, kind of as you see here, David Shuck kind of working through the GTD field right now. it's kind of hard because you've got the LMP2 class guys. You got their top three up here battling for overall win, and you've got your GTD class here that's pretty much staying fairly on top of each other for the most part, and they're in a battle with within themselves. But they're also trying to keep an eye on. We got
Yeah,
an LMP2 car coming up. They're going to be blowing by us at a higher rate of speed, and
way
where
faster.
do we need where do we need to be that we don't cause an incident for either class and ruin somebody's race. And I think that's the challenging part with these three classes. It's just the LMP2 is just so much quicker. It's got a lot more downforce, so it's able to take a lot of these corners a lot quicker than the GT cars. Both classes in general.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 11
So
seconds faster than
yeah,
GTD, which is
so
wild.
they're gonna they're gonna probably put some of the GT cars in some difficult positions, especially when they're making passes, especially in the upcoming weeks when we go to some tracks that probably aren't this
Yeah.
wide and don't really allow for this much room to make passes. I mean, we've already seen tonight. There's been a few passes that were 2 and 3 and almost 4 wide. With the different classes, just already with the GTD and LMP2 right now. But it'll be interesting when when the GTE class gets caught by David in the LMP2
Yeah.
and those guys start going through. GT is a little bit quicker than the GTD class, and I think it's gonna they're gonna put up a little bit more of a fight, and um, it's gonna make it for to probably be a little bit more difficult than the GT D class making the passes.
Yeah, I will go ahead and say Ryan Robertson in the LMP2 has made a pit stop, and he has actually just exited pit road. So pit stop's starting to happen a little bit. That's a little early. Some guys like to wait till the halfway point, but we'll see if other guys start to maybe follow that. And of course, Joe, you can explain this probably better than I can. But for people that don't know, tell them the difference. You're not going to take tires for what reason?
For a 20 minute or not 20 minute 20 lap basically sprint race, tires aren't going to be that much of a factor. In these, you're mainly just packing it with enough fuel to get you to the end. Tires aren't going to wear that bad in either of the three classes. So if you take tires, you're going to put yourself at a huge disadvantage just time wise. You're going to lose a lot of time on pit lane. And the main thing is with pitting is you just want to get in as quick and get out as quick as you can to minimize the pit lane stall time
I
almost.
know a lot of guys already know how to get into pit lane, but do you practice that at all as a driver to try to maybe maximize pit lane, or is it something? I know you, for example, like you got a feeling for every track already. Most guys do at road race, but is that something that you practice a little bit of, or do you just wait till race day for it to happen?
Uh, you may, the one thing I think Terry and Les do a good job of, they put up a practice session every Tuesday night for
Right.
2 hours, kind of leading into the race week, and a lot of the guys do utilize it, and I think that's probably where they would do most of their, a little bit of pit practice, probably maybe towards the end of practice or at the beginning. But me personally, back to your original question, yeah, I would probably. Usually do practice getting in and off pit lane a little bit, especially at a track that I may know but don't run that often, and am not that familiar with getting on and off pit lane as probably as I should be, like I am at a few of the other tracks. But I think it's definitely good to know, your limits of getting on and getting off pit lane because you can really maximize your time if you know how far you can drive the car on access, on either of the access lanes to kind of before you have to really get on that, pit limiter.
Right.
It'll definitely help you on time if you know where you need to be. And you'll notice the guys that don't really have that sense of where the best actual pit commitment line is, they really give up a lot of time getting in pit lane, and that's really where a race can be decided in this series right now.
Joe, we got somebody in the chat saying Hawkeyes are going to take it all the way.
Oh,
Any truth to that, you think?
I don't know. I mean,
You never know.
none of the games have started, so hey, anybody can take it at this point.
Yeah, I think Michigan State, I was told, plays at 10 tonight. In the 4 teams that was playing, or whatever, it's the 6 teams that's playing today. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Who you got winning the tournament?
Man, it's I don't know. It's just
tough
a
to
diverse,
pick, right?
diverse basketball tournament this year. So, be honest, normally coming in, I'd have a few teams that you're already on the radar of possible. You think, oh yeah, they'll go to the Final Four, maybe in the title game, but right now this year, man,
who knows?
who really knows? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a real tight tournament, I think, all the way through.
Yeah, with the COVID situation, I mean, who really? You're right. Who really does know? You know what I mean? There was a lot of games that postponed this season and all that stuff. So who does really know? Terry Dahl about to go a lap down, unfortunately. Well, we knew it was going to happen, but it will be to the LMP2 cars. David Shutt working on the back of him. So I will say, for people that don't know, this is Joe Burchett with me in the booth tonight. He is the other voice that you're hearing. He works for, knows a little bit. This is going to be interesting. David Shutt just blinked out on my screen. Oh, there he is. But it is going to be interesting. For people that don't know Joe, he actually does work in racing in general. Works over at Sellers Racing up in Danville, Virginia. Works on the late model up in Danville. Of course, they race at South Boston on the oval stuff. Joe's been a member of iRacing for a long time now. Don't know how many years, but it's been a long time. I've known him about as long as he's been on here. So the man knows a lot about racing. So when he usually speaks about it, I usually listen a little bit because he is a really good. Of course, he's co-owner with my team and me and him, but he does a really good job of trying to help people if they listen, Derek. But overall, there you go. There's a little bit about Joe. Of course, he's raced in here. You guys have probably seen him. By the way, shout out to Robbie Buckner as well. I believe he's watching. So good to see him. But anyway, Ross has started working his way back up here, Joe. He's working right now behind Dave Hill and Cameron Bidwell as Bidwell gets a little bit of wheel lock up. That's one thing about these cars in the LMP too, Joe. Lock up on the wheel is very easy to happen.
Yeah, the brakes in these cars are really sensitive, so you kind of dive late into a corner. It's really easy to lock them up and really get the rears to lock fully and the car to come around and just snap on you. But I think these guys are doing a pretty awesome job. These three are usually some of your perennial front runners most nights with Ross, Cameron, and Dave, and it's kind of odd to see them back running for fifth, sixth, seventh. But this is like they're battling for the win right now. These three, so they're putting on one heck of a show.
I got to give a shout out to apparently a PG-13 driver, but what Ryan was, I don't know. I know he may not be. It may not be surprising to a lot of guys. I said PG-13. He's actually VRS team. But
I think he's same team as
Ross, right? Yeah, I think so. But doing a very impressive job here tonight. Second right now, LMP2 only 1 second behind. Looks like Bill Paulecki is in pits as well for GTE. Still waiting on some leaders to hit pit road as we are on lap 12 now for LMP2. But all in all, pretty solid race. We have had some pretty interesting stuff happen. A lot of close side-by-side racing as you look at Mitch Heller currently in the 45, currently leading. And this is a guy I want to see get a victory. I'm not going to lie. Joe, you've raced with him a while. He definitely deserves one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mitch has kind of paid his dues.
Yeah.
Before we split back in, they split back into the three classes, he was showing up every week. He was breaking into top fives and getting close to podiums. And there's just something would happen. He'd get caught up in somebody else's mess, or just make that one mistake that would just take him out of contention. And I think notice him the last 2 or 3 seasons I think they've done. He's really gotten really consistent on his lap times and his racecraft has gotten a lot better. He's just, he's not really, you're not seeing him make those few internal mistakes that's happened. Of
Yeah.
course, there's always can still be something happens on the track that's out of his control, but he's looked like he's starting to put the races really together each week, and he's becoming one of those perennial front runners in the GT
Mm-hmm.
class.
Yeah, he's been very impressive. And sorry, guys, as my stuff decides to flip out here, bear with me for a moment. That was random as heck. But anyway, uh, so yeah, I really hope Mitch actually does get a few wins this season. I mean, he's on pace right now to really get one. He's 18 seconds ahead, 19 seconds ahead now of Christopher Jimenez. Terry Dahl just hit pit road as well. So we are starting to see some pit stops. Bidwell, Mark Wilson has both been on or in pit road and already in their box. They just left pit road. So we are starting to see some pit stops happen here on lap 13 for LMP2 class. So, Joe, let's go ahead a little bit. Look forward to next week. I kind of want to talk about, I know we still got a lot of racing, well, a few laps left in this one. But I kind of want to go ahead and get your thoughts because I don't think you're going to be here next week at Monza. Or maybe not. But thoughts on going to Monza with these three classes?
It's, of course, I'm going to say this every week. They're going to put on a good race.
Yeah.
I think Monza's going to be probably going to be a little more of a strain with the three classes, at least right now. If they still had this high car count, because Monza's not that wide. It's not going to, it's not going to allow for ample opportunity to make the passes with the LMP2 and the GT cars. So the LMP2 guys are going to really have to pick their opportunity to kind of make a pass there. I think they're going to have to utilize that long front straightaway and kind of long, I would say, back straightaway leading into the final corner.
Right.
And really, make their passes there. And then, the GT guys just, run their race, kind of make themselves as known and kind of know where they're going to be on the track. And I think, they could come out of there not having very many incidents. I know the incident count kind of has rose a little bit with some of the few of the tracks, few of the tracks with the three cars, but I think Monza, like I said, they can put on a really good race, or it could, not be as good just with the as tight as it is. But I think if anybody can do it, I think these guys can, because like I said, they every week a lot of them show up and practice with each other anyway. So I think most of them are kind of getting used to each other, especially even with these three classes. So I think it's just going to allow for the racing to get better week after week and season after season.
Paul Gibson on pit road, GTD class. Waiting to see how he does here on pit stops. This could be a big one for him as Nikhil does take over the lead in the 42. We'll see total time on pit lane. That's the most interesting thing to me when it comes to pit stops here. You see him working on pit lane, a 35-second stop. So we'll kind of keep an eye on the driver of the 42, as you see right there. Once he hits pit lane, of course, PG-13 as well. There's a lot of PG-13 guys in here, if you ain't noticed. But they are a heck of a team, I will say that. So, Colin Weatherholt, new fastest lap, a 146.167, but still 2.4 back from David Shutt, as Shutt continues to lead over in LMP. And, of course, Mitch Heller just now hit pit road, so we will actually take a look at him as he comes down pit lane. What we try to watch is total time on pit lane. Anything faster than a 33-second pit stop is going to be good. Of course, Mitch can give up a little bit more than that because he had such a big lead. But we'll continue to watch this just for a moment, as he has a 10.2 second pit stop in the box and a 34.8 second out of box, and he comes out right in front of Ross Booth. So, not a bad pit stop for him. And of course, we're waiting on the 42 to hit pit lane to watch the battle between him and Paul Gibson. Will that be enough? And here he comes out of pit lane. So he's looking for something pretty fast here, I would expect. Kind compared to Paul Gibson. Anything faster than a 35-second would be ideal for McKill here as he comes down pit lane. And once again, we'll watch him. And by the way, that beeping noise that you hear, or that alarm that you hear, something kind of new iRacing added a couple builds ago. That's just basically letting pit road know that there is a car coming in. I believe that's correct anyway. Yeah. So there you go. It's something more like a safety thing that they use in real life. So
well, this is going to be a tight here on the exit because Paul's actually coming down the front straightaway now, just passing him.
So yeah, Paul will be able to. Yeah, he actually looks like Nikhil had a faster pit stop, the 34.2. So I mean, he did gain a little bit, but he's still going to be a little bit of ways behind Paul. But we'll have to wait and see. So Christopher Jimenez currently in the lead in GTE. This should all switch back once he hits pit road. David Shutnell on pit lane into LMP class. And anything faster than a 33, it's going to be a pretty good, and it's going to be a 34.2.
Him and actually Colin Weatherhold are on as well, and David was a super lightning quick pit stop, but
Weatherhold got penalty.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been there for 26 seconds so far. I think there was a penalty, and that's something you know about.
Yeah.
Joe literally had a race won and got penalized pretty much for too fast entering or something, unsafe pit entry or something like that. Anyway, so Dave Hill currently up in front now. And speaking of which, Mitch Heller has retaken the lead over in the GTE circuit. And now Colin Weatherholt just now leaving pit road after a 1 minute, 14-second hold on pit lane. So it's a lot of time. And unfortunately, Colin probably going to get his drop week here, I would estimate.
Yeah, he's definitely hoping this is going to be his drop week. After that, just unfortunate mistake. But, once again, he still, I think he possibly might be able to hold out for a podium.
Yeah.
Maybe. I know these guys were a little bit spaced out in LMP2. But, like I said, it was unfortunate. I think he was actually kind of closing in on David there. He's running a little bit quicker lap time right before the pit stop. I think David's just able to get through lap traffic a little bit better, at least at the early point of that race so far. But I think kind of once they got good and clear of the GT cars, he was starting to run him back down. But like you said, though, he got that unfortunate pit lane penalty, and I think that's going to take him out of contention for the win. But he still has a possibility of continuing for a possible top three, and even that could possibly still win him a championship in 12 weeks time.
Dave Hill is on pit road as you see a battle. Cameron Bidwell was actually closing on Mark Wilson, has lost a little bit of time as Dave Hill will merge back into traffic as well. This is going to be a good battle here as they almost collide. 4 LMP2 cars, Joe. All nose to tail with Mark Wilson right now leading the way. Cameron Bidwell, Dave Hill, and Ross Booth. This is going to be good to watch.
Yeah.
Side by side.
If you want to see a few of the cream of the crop of LMP2 drivers, this is it right here.
That is not a lie. Even though David Shutt is checked out, this is going to make things good. Mark Wilson still leading these 4 cars. Bidwell, Booth, and Hill right now, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then you throw in a GTD cars, and, that can change things up as well. You can see them weaving in and out of traffic. Joe, and you see them flashing the lights. For people that don't know, just a real quick explanation. Oh, somebody went off. Who was that? Dave Hill off into the sand pit. But for people that don't know, explain what that is when you start seeing the lights flash.
The scenario of using the blinking lights or flashing lights, as a lot of people do, a lot of that's usually used by the different classes. It kind of just lets you know, somebody's coming up behind you. It's usually more of a courtesy thing. Hey, I'm a little bit quicker. I'm gonna be, coming by you. Usually it's kind of used for the slower class to kind of just let them know, hey, the faster guy's coming, and he's gonna be passing. Kind of just hold your racing line, and we're gonna work around you. And I know some of it's kind of used as a more so as a strategy call to kind of distract the guy a little bit.
And it can do, especially at night.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's mainly used for multi-class racing to kind of just let the slower class know that a faster class car is approaching, and to just they're gonna work around you as best they can. I will say though, even though they lost Dave, these three, they're still nose to tail, and they're not letting up. Which it looks like this is going to be moving into a top three position.
Yeah, it's been pretty good right now. I was running on board with Cameron. I thought I had my mic unmuted. It wasn't unmuted, but I was riding on top of the roof cam with Cameron a minute ago, and very close not to make contact with Mark Wilson. Cameron's doing a great job. Him and Wilson both doing really nice here as Ross Booth looks on, maybe trying to take advantage of something. It's going to be tough to make a pass in these things right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to set your paths up to where you're able to complete them. Kind of like Cameron there. I think he kind of set it up through the kind of that little rhythm S section and of the track, and he's able to complete the pass coming out of that corner. But these cars do generate a lot of draft, so these guys are kind of able to kind of tuck in behind each other and just draft up to the other car in front of them and basically almost slingshot themselves around them. So I think that's maybe what you'll see with Mark Wilson here do on Cameron if he's able to kind of close up to him.
Yeah, it's been a really good race between these three cars. I'm not going to lie. It's some of the best racing we've seen actually all night. Goes to show you, like you said, some of the best, especially in this class. A lot of respect being given, but they're racing really hard right now. I can promise that. Mitch Heller out by 30 seconds right now. We're still watching the battle for LMP2 as there is 2 laps to go. It looks like every class pretty much decided as far as leaders, but you never know. But they are still racing hard here for a podium over an LMP2 class. So Mark Wilson right now does drop back to 4th. Cameron Bidwell going to try to drive away as the 2 cars behind him battle for that 4th spot. Watch for Ross to make a move here. Ross has an amazing Ford, by the way. I actually seen the picture on his Facebook. And he's done a lot of work to it. Not a Ford guy, but that thing looked amazing. Or a Corvette.
Yeah, actually,
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he has a Ford as well, but
I think so.
I know, like I said, I'm friends with him as well on Facebook, and I noticed, seen a picture, he looked like he's got a Corvette or something in the garage right now. Yeah, I think it's the new C8 that they're working on. I think he said it's him and his dad, I think, that do some work on those cars. So, yeah, hopefully they make it into something badass.
One driver missing tonight is Tommy Ryan, which is we seen him last night. He races in the Oval League that we broadcast, the Sim 500. He raced in it, but missing it out, which is kind of surprising. Tommy, of course, a champion over here, but hopefully we'll see him next week. Because here you go, Mark Wilson. Oh, okay, that is actually a slower car. So the white flag is going to be out, or is out now, for David Shutt as he tries to get the win. And somebody in the chat said it'd be cool to see Illinois go to the championship. Yeah, I actually had Illinois in one of my brackets to go. Joe would hate to see that because that means I would win the bracket thing we're doing. But anyway, here's David Shutt coming up on the back of William Cabela. Cabela not having the greatest night here in the 25 tonight, but still out there running in P9. Unfortunately, Dave Hill has called it quits, Joe. So after that incident, he's had another issue, and it looks like he has pulled it down pit road and has called it quits. So Dave Hill, unfortunately, going to finish P10 in class for LMP. But here we come to the final corner, or final couple corners, should I say, of the LMP2 class. As you see David Shutt looking to get the first win of the season here at the Nürburgring GP circuit. Mitch Heller once again leading the class over in GTE. We will jump back to him momentarily. And Paul Gibson, of course, leading the way over in the GTD. So here you go. Off to turn 16. David Shutt going to put it in victory lane for the first time this season. And he goes to victory lane here in Nürburgring. Jumping back to to GTE. It is Mitch Heller looking to go to victory lane here in the GTE class, looking to pick up a big win here in the Red Sox Racing Series. It's well done. I'm actually very happy to see this, as he's got a couple more corners to work off here as well to put it in victory lane. As long as nothing happens here in the final couple corners, he should be okay. Over in that Ferrari 488. As we watch him for a moment. And actually just taking the checker flag, Paul Gibson wins over in the GTD class, picking up another win. A way to start off his new campaign in the Lamborghini. Switching classes back to the GTD and picking up a win. As you still see Mitch Heller coming to the checkered flag, and he looks for the final turn. Here at Nürburgring, Mitch Heller going to put it in victory lane and pick up his first win here in the Red Sox Racing Series. Congratulations to Mitch, David, and Paul Gibson as well. I'll hop over and do interviews. Joe, I'll be right back. Let me hop over there and do that, and we will talk to them over there. And Joe is in here, so there you go. You got any questions you want to ask anybody, by the way, for interviews? You want me to handle it?
Yeah, I'll ask.
Okay, awesome. Put you on the spot there, by the way. So we will talk to these guys in a couple minutes. You can see what they're doing. This is what Joe talked about. You have to make sure that you have enough gas. And Joe, we've talked about before, that's a very crucial thing. I mean, this is 4 points if you don't make it back around.
Yeah. I mean, they try to cut it as close as they can, to where they're not sitting stagnant on pit lane for that long, but they want to make sure they've got enough in to where they don't want to run out, down the straightaway or down the back straightaway or something here, and you get a win, but you just cost yourself 4 points off of that win. And that definitely right now, I'd say in this series can cost you a championship.
Yeah, that's something that is going to be washed pretty close this season. Once again, so we'll wait for drivers to start popping in. Once they do, we'll grab them and pull them up. Better yet, let's go ahead and actually talk to. We'll wait just a moment before I pull anybody in. I want to make sure that everybody is in here before I do so. But you know what? Let's go ahead and talk to Paul Gibson here in the GTD class. Once I can. Oh, never mind. I forgot. He's got to move in here, so never mind. We'll wait a minute before that, because I can't move people in here. Forgot about that. So give it just a second. We'll let some guys load in and stuff like that. We'll talk to them here very shortly for our interviews. Of course, we interview the winners from each class. So we'll wait. As you see Paul Gibson pulling into the box, he'll be moving up here momentarily, as well as David Shutt and, of course, Mitch Heller we will be speaking to here very soon as well. Good race all in all, though, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we've seen very many incidents, if hardly any, and these guys put on a very, very good race.
For sure on that one. We got Paul Gibson in the booth with us here, driver of the Lamborghini GTD, switching class from LMP2 to GTD. Boy, that had to be a big switch for you, but it looked like you left off where you left off last season, or picked up where you left off last season.
Yeah, I like how the GT3 cars slide around and move around. So I'll give that a shot this season. It's fun.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it was fun. Able to get out and win by about 12 seconds, man. Talk about driving a Nürburgring. It was fun at times. There was a lot of side-by-side racing. Everybody looked like they did a pretty good job tonight.
Yeah, I would like. It seems like the GTD cars were just kind of. We didn't get it to see a lot of it. We saw a lot of the aftermath, but but we didn't actually see. We didn't actually. It was pretty far up in front of us when it was all happening. The first couple laps. So, yeah, it was just try to maintain a pace and don't make any mistakes and bring it home.
Monza next week, man. How do you feel about taking a Lamborghini there?
I think I'll be driving BMW next week.
I'm good.
Yeah. I think the Lamborghini might be a little bit outgunned on the straightaways versus that BMW, so
sure.
I'll probably be in that car next week.
Joe, any questions for him?
I just, Paul, you looked, very dominant in practice and qualifying, and in the race, you and your teammate kind of we're kind of neck and neck early. You think that pit stop's kind of what helped win you that race tonight?
I think tire wear probably was the biggest thing. I drove another GT3 race not too long ago, and I realized that tire wear, especially the fronts, with this high downforce setup, is a really big deal. So I would just those first half of the race, I was just being real careful about the entry speed and wheel, giving it too much wheel angle going in just to keep the fronts in check. And then, I think I started pulling away just a little bit there about mid race or so, and then I just started kind of trying to maintain a gap through the traffic and stuff. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is just tire wear though, and a lot of that's just Lamborghini versus BMW. I think the Lamborghini's easier on the tires.
For sure on that, man. Hey, Good job tonight. Any shout outs you want to give out?
Yeah. Congrats to all the winners. I'm glad that PG-13 is back in action again this season. We had a bunch of cars in here, and good job to everyone. And see you next week.
Hey, good job, buddy.
Cool. Thanks
Man. Next up is the interview. We kind of talked to him last season, but this interview we've all been kind of waiting on, Joe. Mitch Heller getting it done in a GTE Ferrari. Mitch, congratulations. Dominant victory tonight.
Thank you very much. It was fun.
It has
gotten kind of quiet for me.
It has to be nice, honestly, man, because, you've had a lot of bad luck. I've talked about it in previous broadcasts and stuff like that. Things just not going the way, but it looked like a race finally came together for you here tonight. Perfect.
Yeah, it really did. It felt good. I got some good practice at this track. I was running some pretty good times. Tonight, it seemed as though tire wear was pretty tough. And it really, I don't know, I feel like I could have been a second faster, but I don't know how or why I pulled ahead so far, but it was fun.
Yeah, man. And next week we go to Monza. Can you repeat this performance that we've seen tonight?
That is a really good question. That track is definitely pretty tricky. So we'll have to see. We'll work on it and get some practice in and see what we can do.
Yeah, a bunch of people falling for you tonight as well on YouTube. Joe, any questions you got for him?
Mitch, you kind of showed, kind of got the dominant car tonight. You think you're possibly going to be able to hold on to that these other 11 weeks and with these different challenging tracks?
You know what? I think we've got a pretty good schedule. I've had some pretty good success at most of the tracks that we're going to be going to. And so I think that, I feel pretty confident about it.
Yeah, I said last year that you was the most improved driver, and that continues to hold true because now you pick up the first win. That's very impressive, dude. Shout out to all that. You've got a lot of people pulling for you in the chat, by the way. So
that's awesome. Well, of course, Les, Terry, both you and Joe. Joe, when's the last time we got to race? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't get to race as much as I used to, but I'm able to now to kind of come up here and still be around with y'all, but just call the race without them.
Right. Well, and of course, a big thanks to the Red Sox Racing League members as well. It's just a great time. So thank you.
Dude, congratulations, man. That's awesome to see you finally get it done here.
Awesome. Have a good night.
You too, buddy.
Bye.
Joe, that's going to do it, buddy. We talked about the race. It's pretty good. Monza next week. All in all, not a bad night.
No, I think these guys opened their season up well. I think we had a few incidents that probably put a couple of guys behind the eight ball, but with that drop week, they're not out of contention. But from a racing standpoint, these guys raced hard. They all raced clean, and I think anybody out there that's watching, including you and me, are going to say, this is one hell of a race.
Yeah, it's one of the best leagues to get involved if you're into road racing. That is one thing that we've always agreed on, for sure. Well, that'll do it for us, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the broadcast. We do not have the winner of LMP2, Dave Hill, but that's okay. Or David Shutt, I'm sorry. But that's okay. So, for Joe, Burchett, Adam Chapman, y'all have a great night. We'll see y'all Sunday night for the ASL series. Y'all take care, and God bless as always.